From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. More students in Colorado are headed to college, and enrollment numbers at Colorado colleges are climbing faster than predicted. At the University of Colorado, for example, enrollment grew by 3.5% this school year. That's substantially more than the 0.5% increase the school's officials had expected. So what's behind the increase? And how is it changing who is attending college in Colorado? Spoiler alert, it might involve CU football coach Deion Sanders. For answers, we checked in with Dr. Angie Piccioni, Executive Director of Colorado's Department of Higher Education. That department works to make college more accessible to Coloradans and supports policies designed to help students. Angie says this surge in enrollment is partly due to some programs at the state schools, and it's also part of a post-pandemic recovery.
We've seen the rebound starting probably in 2021, even in 2022, and now we're seeing that really come into fruition. But I think there are some policies and new practices that the institutions are doing that's letting students know that college is closer than they think.
And so I know that there are some initiatives that colleges have rolled out to kind of encourage this to happen. What are some of those initiatives?
Yeah, probably the one that's happened over these past 4 years or so are the institutional promise programs. Those programs say that under a certain threshold of income, you can come to college tuition and fees free. And so some of the threshold might be $65,000 or $75,000. And so as the institutions were developing their own promise programs, they were sending the message to their community that you come to college and we will cover the cost of tuition if you're under that particular income threshold. Now, the state last year passed the Colorado Promise, which covers the entire state, all of the public institutions of higher ed, at $90,000 and below. So this expands the attractiveness, if you will, for that lower middle class family as well. So now people are saying, okay, it actually could possibly be affordable, because the message out there was that you can't go to college without accumulating hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
And I know retention rates are up this year, that meaning students have returned for another semester or another school year. That is also a major contributor to higher enrollment. Why do you think retention is up?
I think students are really finding that college, number one, it can be fun, especially if it's a residential institution, but also that they are getting the education that they really want and that they need for the career and the jobs that they want to have.
Angie, many Colorado schools have seen boosts in Black and Hispanic student numbers. Why do you think the initiatives you mentioned help those students in particular?
You know, we have a record number of Hispanic serving institutions. It's a federal designation that when you reach an enrollment of about 25% of your student body is Hispanic, then you earn the designation of Hispanic Serving Institution, HSI. And we have a number who are already received the designation. I believe Adams State was the first in the state to ever get that. And I think UNC actually was the most recent to earn that designation. But we also have a number of emerging HSIs. And now we have a consortium of all of those schools who are either received it or emerging. And I think that message says, you are welcome in our institutions, and we're not just about Hispanic enrolling, we're about Hispanic serving. And I think for many segments of our society, getting that college degree is still really the highest ambition that the family has. We have many first-generation students as well, but we have a number of our institutions that are at 44% of first-generation students. And there still is that pride of accomplishment when you can achieve those credentials. But then, for me, I think a boosted enrollment at CU is remarkable in Black students. Black students now, they had an increase in their applications by nearly 51% increase. It's unheard of almost, and I call that the prime effect. So when we think about Deion Sanders, prime time as the coach, he has really brought CU back to the map from the athletic side. And because of that and all the enthusiasm that everyone sees on TV, when you see all the students, if you're a young person, you want to go, especially if you're an African-American or Black young student, you want to go where you feel like there's a sense of belonging and that there's something to really look forward to. And I think Prime has really done it. I'm giving him all the credit, to be honest, for for that increase in applications.
No, yeah, no pressure though. I know these trends are not universal. Interestingly, white students have not been following the trends of increased enrollment that Black and Hispanic students have. What does your research say about that?
So there's a number of reasons that that could be the case as well. So a lot of this is kind of speculation and just looking at the research and see what do the numbers tell us. And in across the country, actually, the birth rate is going down. We haven't been anticipating that there is a cliff coming where the enrollment is going to drop significantly because of the birth rate. So if we go back 17, 18 years, we can see that the enrollment in our K-12 schools, that class is on its way to college. And so we recognize that there's going to be a drop. And I think that there's a lot of students, and not just white students, but there's a lot of students who after high school, they're doing something else. And to be honest, I don't know what it is yet. And we're trying to figure this out because the college going rate of Colorado is only about 50%. That means 50% of our high school graduates, I'm not talking about dropouts, high school graduates, only 50% are going on to anything post-secondary, technical college, community college, four-year college. And so I don't know what the other half are doing. Are they in the gig economy? Are they all driving Uber and DoorDash?
Right.
Are they doing a side hustle? Are they trying to become an influencer on Instagram? I don't know what they're doing, but they're not coming to college. They're there. There's a population of them, but they're not going to college.
Well, Angie, how do you think this year's retention numbers will change how colleges in Colorado recruit students?
Yeah, we know that nationally, the national average for retention from first year to second year is right around 68%. We know that when we provide some financial resources and those wraparound support services, especially for those first generation students and students of color, right, those students increase their retention rate to almost, in some cases, 90 to 94%. We know with the support and with those support services, most students will stay and see that line of sight to that degree.
Dr. Angie Piccioni is Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Higher Education. Thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure.
Before we get out of here today, we want to hear ideas from listeners like you. We're curious about which stories and interviews you like the most. And we also want to know how this show fits into your day. Do you listen in the car, on the bus, maybe while walking your dog? And do you listen to each day's episode when it comes out? Or do you catch up on a week's worth of In The NoCo in one go? Drop us a line and tell us how to make In The NoCo better for you. You can email us at noco@kunc.org. That's it for us today on In The NoCo. I'm Erin O'Toole. Thanks so much for listening.